But don't you think that is also itself a journey? Getting your first client and getting them to trust you is a different ball game altogether.
It is, but it is certainly much
Mm.
more easier
Yeah.
to start on the street than to do it in a gallery.
And then you eventually came down to canvases as well.
I had to do canvas for myself. I mean, it's your own space, right? I'm sitting alone in a room and then
Yeah.
doing it, and so that's like meditation, and that's my own thing. So I was eventually going to come down to canvas, but see, it was an ikigai. What you're good at, how will it pay for you, and then
See.
how it is going to pay your bills, and then you won't get bored for the rest of your life. Or that complete made sense in street art, and not just street art, but painting for cafes is what started to pay.
Cafes, schools. We will also talk about the GD Goenka incident. I really want people to know what happened, what went south. So what happened there? Yeah? I mean, Kartikey. Wow, man. I mean, Pepsi. I'm pretty sure that they, of course, did wonders. And then talking about incidents, I also, came across when I was talking on Instagram, the GD Goenka incident. What was that about? Funny, but I want people to know.
It was not funny at all, honestly.
I mean, funny as in that people like this also exist.
Yeah, it exists. It was it was a very simple case that a client got the work done
Yeah.
and he didn't want to pay. That is all what it was. But I am somebody who doesn't really take shit from anyone.
Of course. And
So I was not scared to go on social media, and I think that was, instead of going to the police, because I knew he would be powerful and he would also use his sources. So I thought social media would be an ideal thing, and also I think I had some kind of vengeance, because I don't like bullies at all, and I think that's what was happening. He was trying to bully me. I've had bullies all my life, and I think my immediate reaction to bullying is I'll throw a punch in the face.
Did you throw a punch in the face?
I think putting it on social media was that. I've never met that guy. It was my team who was handling it, and he was absolutely obnoxious about the fact that I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. And one day when we couldn't take it anymore, he was like, "Now I'm not gonna pay because you spoke to me like that." Well, that's very convenient. That's extremely convenient कि अभी तुमने मुझे गुस्सा दिला दिया, अब मैं नहीं पे करूंगा. अगर इतना ईगो है, मेरे मुंह पे पैसा फेंक के मारो.
Actually,
I'm very happy.
all फेंको.
इंस्टाग्राम पे उनके उनके आई थिंक उनके बेटे थे, वो मुझे मैसेज कर रहे हैं कि इट्स नॉट अ बिग डील फॉर मी टू गो लीगल अगेंस्ट यू. इफ इट इज नॉट अ बिग डील, देन पे अप एंड गेट इट ओवर विद.
Yeah.
I think it became purely a ego
Clash.
problem than anything else, and it's just sad. It was supposed to be a simple transaction
And
without
school.
and without any there was no conversation required. We did the job, you pay up, it's done. This whole conversation is utterly useless. Also, let me clarify, GD Goenka's name has been used, but it's a school that is a franchise. The people operating it is somebody else. So GD Goenka really doesn't have anything to do with them. It's the guys who took the franchise, their responsibility. The guys that I have mentioned in the post, which I am forgetting the exact
You
name.
don't even remember such people's names, yeah.
But yeah, it was their responsibility, and I don't blame GD
How did
Goenka
it
at all.
happen? Like, you did a project for them, of course. I mean, you took an advance, you start painting, and then they, of course.
See, the biggest failure was to agree to not do paperwork, okay? Which we do in all of our projects. These guys requested that we'll pay in cash. We accepted because they generally felt like okay people.
Yeah.
And whenever the client suggests that we'll pay in cash or we'll pay the labors in cash, we try to not really fight it, because most of our projects are in PO, and if there's some extra work which is not in the PO, they'll pay it in cash, and it's a thing in India, right? We do that. I don't take up projects without paperwork for the exact same reason. And this one time that I did, it happened. Another lesson that I don't even should have exemptions from that rule of my own. It's like I read about this years and years ago, that you choose your client. I chose the wrong client and I'm suffering. But I'm very sure that that guy is going to pay up one day.
No, he will. And
He will.
I'm
Because
pretty sure.
either something is going to happen or he'll realize it himself.
No, I hope he does. And I think, yeah. And, as you rightly said in the post as well, it does not even make sense to go legal also, because who gets involved in such, like, you end up paying the lawyers more to get what you deserve.
See, I think he also knows it, and that is why they can afford to do this and get away with it, which I'm extremely, extremely against. So this is pure bullying, because he knows that artists might not go legal. He's okay with doing it and then throwing a legal notice at me, which had 17 grammatical mistakes. But it did. So I am going to go legal if it doesn't get resolved soon, because that is exactly what he's trying to take advantage of. The second advantage was that he thought I'll get scared by the cops. So when the police called, he thought it was okay because the police didn't discuss the situation. He called me and said, "Take down the post." I said, "No." That's all. Now, if you are going to go legal and if you are filing a case of defamation against it, then if the court says, I'll take it down.
Of course.
If I am going the legal route, then why will I take it down? Because you are asking somebody to call me and scare me. I think he didn't have any idea that I won't get scared. Firstly,
no, but to be honest, good learning lesson. And yeah, this has happened with everyone. It's happened with us as well. So number one thing we've also learned is that whenever we are doing something, see, because art is a service. Okay, when you're doing commission works, always take 100% advance. Yeah, this is
100% advance doesn't work. It's 50-50 or 70-30 mostly.
My side, fortunately, it has worked. I don't know if it works with wall art or graffiti. I don't know how it works. But in our case, when we're doing commission work, we have. If you don't want to give it to us, it's fine. You can walk away. But we have these 2-3 rules, because where are we going to run away? I have a physical space. Why will I not give the artwork? Because I have more to use out on. So I mean, that is something which we've.
I think that's just from time to time. Maybe in the future, I'll be in a position to accept 100% advance.
I think Kartikey Sharma is still in a position. I think he's a good name.
No, I'm not in that position, and I think I'm okay with the terms, because the guys who are our clients, most of our clients, 99% of the clients are honest. They're nice. They respect themselves enough that they don't like cheat. They follow the contract to the T. And that also puts us in pressure that we don't lag. If we know that our client is going to pay in advance, we are more stressed, because now we have to perform better than what we promised. So yeah, it's fine. It's fine. And I don't think my name is that big that for a commission somebody might give 100%. Somebody might like my work and buy it off. That's still possible. You might.
No, hopefully we will. But let's talk about good stuff here. Kartikey Sharma, that name itself, like, what is the purpose of Kartikey Sharma when it comes to art? What is your vision?
See, when it comes to art, I have a very specific idea, specific vision that has been constant since ever since I started. I was sure that the kind of artists that people know about have a different image. These guys are free. They're considered to not care about their clothes or their food or their habits or the time or discipline, and they sometimes become very big, or else they die hungry.
Yeah.
I wanted to change that completely, and I think, like me, many others in this industry have brought about that change very successfully in the past 10-15 years.
And change that how?
That's what I was coming to. The change is that an artist can be disciplined, can work like it is his regular job, 9-to-5 job,
95,
can pay all the bills on time, can look a certain way like how the rest of the people look, and feel, and still be a serious artist. I want to make the Infosys of art services company firstly. That an artist who comes out of college should know where to go, where he will use his skills to earn money, because he is trained to do to make any sort of artwork, any theme that is given to him. And because he will be able to pay all his bills on time and he'll be able to have a sustainable life, he can paint for himself or make art for himself whenever he wants.
That's his.
So the life that I created for myself, I want that to be for everybody who's associated with paper plane. Because it took me over a decade. But I can paint for myself whenever I want, while I'm also doing commissioned artworks.
But that has also, taken a lot of time. Donkey years, it's...
Yes, but it need not take a lot of time for others, right? So whoever has started to join our company as artists, and these guys are young, they're just out of college, they do commission projects every month. And in between those projects, they paint for themselves, and they're free to do so. They're free to take any project they want to. There's no binding contract. But that gives them a freedom that once they understand that there's a company who's already making an ecosystem where there are clients and there are artists, and art as a service, and the client also expects a certain quality, and the artist also can deliver the certain quality because of their training. And we have done the rest of the ecosystem, to do the right paperwork, to be able to receive a certain amount of money, to pay all the taxes on time to the government, to establish a company, to do our due diligence with artists and everybody for the clients. The clients has done their due diligence on us. Our GST should be sorted, MSME certificate should be sorted. All of that we have
Like
done.
a legitimate company.
Like a legitimate company. When we have done the organizational stuff, the artist knows that he is welcome here, and now he has to focus on only what he is good at. And since the very beginning, that was my vision, that I am going to create a company which is for engineers. How it is कि मुझे मालूम है मैं TCS टाटा जा सकता हूँ, कोई भी आर्ट स्कूल से निकले उसको मालूम चाहिए पेपर प्लेन जा सकता हूँ, मेरी लाइफ सॉर्ट हो जाए.
काम करने के लिए. And that is exactly what something also similar to what we've also been doing, because art per se has always been sold as a notion, and this is why we emphasize so much on art education, because the laymen and the people who are buying art do not know this. Like, I think India specifically, when we read about this, India only has 2% collectors. 98% of the people who are investing, so-called investing or buying art, and do not know anything about art. To be honest, there's nothing to know about art. But the industry and artists themselves, I'm not blaming anyone here, they've created such a big facade, and a big fad that art is a notion, it's an experience, it's not a product. You're not buying a canvas with acrylic paint or ink or something of that sort. You're buying it's an experience, or you're buying a journey.
Isn't that true?
So I think, when we talk about commercializing art, like we've been talking ever since we started the podcast, I want to commercialize art. And my vision, if you ask me, is all about, okay, at the end of the day, this should be a product. A customer walks into the gallery, it should be as simple as that. 3 simple steps. They walk into the gallery, they see a painting. Does it suit their wall space? Does it fit the size if they want to put it behind the couch or in the living room or the dining room? Bus, khalas. They should just buy. Third is, of course, price point. Price point, I'm not even too, concerned about, because we don't believe in selling expensive art. We sell affordable art. So price also we negotiate with. So the customer is also happy. I'm also happy. The artist is also happy.
See, now you are exactly talking about how we see as art as a service, right? But the facade that you were talking about, that is not a facade. See, there are two aspects of the same thing. All right. Now, right now, you're trying to sell art as a decorative item.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is great because it runs the
Yeah.
company.
I don't even want to give it a tag. Like, I just want to be like, it's a simple product, guys.
Yeah.
It's not something which people, talk about without any knowledge.
But there's a completely different sector of art also, which is not a product, which is a
Yes,
story,
agreed.
which
I
is a
totally agree.
experience,
Yeah.
which is like a poem that it will
Yes,
touch people,
Agreed.
and people buy it for that. So it also depends on who's buying.
Agreed.
Some people buy it just because it feels right and it makes them feel something.
Something they resonate with,
You know?
at the end of the day.
And some people buy it because they want to hang it somewhere. Both sides of it.
So to hang it also somewhere, then those are certain guys which I do not do. So those people come with the perspective कि नहीं wall खाली है, मुझे रंग भरना है types. But those people who just wanted as wall decor, as you correctly said, for them I don't even encourage or even entertain them when they walk into the gallery. मैं कहा 20 रुपए फुट के हिसाब से लाके wallpaper खरीदो. Why do I emphasize on this being a product? You need to resonate with this. Of course, if you don't like this, if you don't resonate with this, no one's going to buy it at the end of the day. So I'm somewhere in between. I'm bridging the gap between.
See, I completely understand that ideology. So it's like it's easier to understand in the sense of a movie. Some movies are only for entertainment. Some movies are for other feelings.
Yeah.
And we also have a mind that today I am not in a mood to watch a commercial film. Today I want to invest myself and experience something. Today I am going to watch a comedy movie because that's a different kind of experience. And वो मुझे करना है. So it's like that, I think.
Maybe like a documentary. Documentary is only for those who are connoisseurs of that specific topic. So वो होते हैं art lovers. फिर वो आता है serious art में या contemporary art में, where there are those 2% of buyers and investors I'm talking about.
But I think I kind of can agree that India has very less serious collectors, and it's okay. It'll change. Or maybe Indian collectors are a lot, but they're not maybe
But
visible
don't you
to
think
us.
this is something? It's a blessing in disguise as well at the same time, because I don't want serious collectors as well coming to me. I mean, in art industry itself, because yes, I would love to have a conversation about any piece of art, but at the same time, I also don't want people to create analogies and stories which do not even exist.
Nobody does. You know, an artist who is doing analogies and stories that don't exist, he will be caught. Nobody who is going to pay for an artwork or even appreciate an artwork, they're not stupid. Honesty shows, and dishonesty also shows. So many artists have worked for years and years and years and been honest to their work, and you see that one day all their artwork pays off in real monetary value. It is because somebody has seen that honesty in them. And people who are phony, they they get caught, you know, and that's the biggest dilemma with us, people like us who work commercial art. When we sit to do our work, which is when we sit to paint for ourselves, we better be honest, because if we are not, we are going to get caught. And even while I am painting, in the process of painting, that stroke by stroke, I have to keep reminding myself that this is not to impress anybody. And if you do it, you will get caught. And the viewer, the artist, the art collector, or the real person who knows what painting is, he will catch it. It'll be in the
Agreed.
soul of the artwork.
Agreed.
So that honesty will be there, and at least we try it's there. And that's why we don't take inspiration from other artworks or somewhere, because one day somebody will see it. You know, that I was not being honest to myself. And that is the biggest dilemma in the whole art history also. If you read every artist's life story, whenever any artist has made it big, it probably has been later in their life for most of them. But it's also because it took so much time for him to be absolutely honest with his work.
And to build a genre. Yeah, I mean, they've created their own genres.
Creating that genre is being honest to yourself, right? So it takes time, because in the beginning, every artist starts by copying.
Yeah.
Or there's a reference. Every artist starts to learn from somebody else. And it's a long journey to discover yourself, while you also have to pay bills and also have to learn how to drive and learn this and learn that and cook food and go shopping and bring a family up and everything. And while you're also discovering कि मैं क्या हूँ. So generally that's why it takes more time. पर वही है, if you are not honest, वो दिखता है. But if you are honest, वो reward भी होता है.
Agreed. And now we were also talking about paper plane. I want people to know what paper plane is. You've briefly spoken about paper plane. Acha, kyun? Paper plane kyun? I saw a reel on Instagram where you were talking about it, but I want you to tell people why paper plane.
So see, paper plane, the name has two stories.
Yeah.
One is that when I was a child, I think UKG is when I remember completely, I used to make small paper planes on every page of my notebook in the class.
Of course.
So there was always a thing. Then my father used to be in naval aviation.
Acha.
So there was always a small memento of a plane in the house, you know. But this name being paper plane for my company, this idea came during my second bout with cancer. Because at that time I was very confined. The first time I think I was confined only for good 6-8 months. But this time it was over years. I was diagnosed 2016.
Yes.
Beginning of 2016. So complete 2016, complete 2017, almost complete 2018. I was always confined in a room. Or I was going from one room to another room. So paper plane is basically me. But you know, I am confined. I'm usually indoors. I need a push to travel. I need some help. I'm fragile.
You're fragile yet you're flying.
Like paper plane. But my destiny is to fly. It's not to walk or crawl. So that is why the paper plane was there. That no matter how fragile it is, his destiny is always to fly.
Beautiful.
And that fragile person or the fragile object doing the impossible was anyway the ideology behind my art journey or my life journey in itself. Paper plane fit completely perfectly to me.
No, it's beautiful. And yeah, I mean, talking about cancer, I don't want to sympathize or empathize. Oh, I want to empathize, not sympathize. Talking about cancer, you have fought it twice. Has that affected? I'm not going to talk about how the journey was. I don't want to talk about all that rubbish. But I want to talk about, has that affected your art journey? You've survived it twice, which is, and kudos to you and kudos to the doctors. But how's that been?
See, I think what the answer you or everybody else is expecting is that it changed me and made me a better artist.
Again, yeah, I mean, I want to
Yeah.
talk about your art journey
Yeah.
specifically.
So just for my art journey, I think cancer was actually a hindrance and not a boon in any way. I'd already had cancer once. I didn't want that to watch that movie twice. I didn't have to.
Yeah, of course.
So if cancer was supposed to be a story in my art journey, I already had it once. I already had that feather in the cap. Okay, so it was
Yeah.
twice is not going to make it better. I was in the best of my health. I was 22 years old, 22 years old, or 23 years old. I was going to live the best life. I could live on less money. I could do more work. I could travel more with less money. I had lesser responsibilities, very low rent. I had already left home in third year college itself. So
Wow.
I had no responsibility towards
Anyone.
for that matter. I could have lived a very, very good life. And being the hard worker I am, I could have made my way through anything. And I had no preconceived notions कि ये नहीं खाना, यहाँ नहीं सोना, ये नहीं करना, ये नहीं पहनना. I would have been more free, but rather my primitive years, my best years of my life was spent in a hospital. So it was actually a big bane.
Yeah.
It was a big hindrance.
Yeah.
It didn't. It actually slowed down my journey as an artist. How much work I can produce in a month or in a
Of course.
in a small period of time. If I had been doing it since then, I would have made like double the amount of work that I've done. You know, it also gave me a permanent walking disorder. I limp.
Yeah.
That's just absolute hindrance. There's nothing good about it. I can use it for sympathy if I want to, but
I just said I don't want to.
that's not the kind of person I am.
Yeah.
Right. That's not the kind of person I am. I don't want it to be. I want to succeed on merit and purely on merit.
That's why I didn't want to go
So
that
I
route.
hide my walk sometimes, and also because I came into commerce of art, right? So the client needs a product which is of the best quality by the best person.
Yes.
If I reveal to clients that I can barely walk, I don't want it to hinder my performance, right? So whenever there's a problem, I make sure that the client knows that it will be done. My physical state has nothing to do with the quality of work that we are going to produce, and we produce very large artworks which need bigger cranes and scaffolding and longer working hours and working in sometimes in dangerous climate.
Yeah.
It's raining, sometimes somebody falls, slips. So I don't want that somebody thinking ki this guy is weak.
Bichaga type.
Yeah, and I'm not even close to weak, Just because I can't walk properly, I don't want my client to think ये काम नहीं कर पाएंगे.
Sitting in the hospital, what were you thinking? I mean, was it like, of course, those were your prime years. मैं भी होता, मैं सोचा, shit, my life is ruined. I wanted to work and I couldn't work. So I mean, and of course, you were getting love from all over the world that time. But were you working also that time?
I was trying to work as much as possible. So see, that also has a lot to do with my skills to get work done without leaving the room. To hire the right people, to make a good organization. All that came. वही है, देखो, अगर कुछ गड़बड़ होता है and then you make the best out of it, वही है. That's a very engineering attitude. Engineers are problem solvers.
Yeah.
That's what we are. We are tools. We are tools to fix things.
Fix problems.
Our mentality is like that. So training of engineering is very handy. And I think my life after that, after engineering, my life has been about thinking of how to solve a problem, then cry over it. So I was working. I had already started my first company with other partners, and we were trying to get as much projects done as possible. I also need the money back then, desperately. So I was working continuously. I was also working on myself. I had considered firstly, I had believed that I'm going to survive this. It was still on the last stage, but I still somehow had convinced myself that there is a door after this and I have to be prepared for that. So I kept sketching every day. I kept painting every day whenever possible and didn't stop at all. I didn't stop even marketing myself
Fine.
because I knew that one day I'm going to exit this and that time should not be ground zero. I can't start all over again.
Exactly.
It has to be somewhere. If not the first step, half a step. So I was working really hard on not being out of sight and not losing the skill because see, painting does not come from the heart.
Exactly.
It comes from practice.
No, wait. Don't contradict the entire existence of my show.
See, I'm
It
not
is also-
contradicting. It not just comes from the heart. It needs practice. See, I can imagine the most beautiful emotions. मुझे पेंट करना नहीं आता तो मैं कुछ नहीं बता सकता किसी को, you know.
सही
A writer can have the best of the story, but he doesn't have the command on the language. वो कुछ जो भी बोलेगा कुछ समझ नहीं आएगा.
सही बात.
अबड़ा बचबा.
सही बात.
That's what I was trying to say. That I can't sit on my ass now. I have the time. And
Paper plane happened that time?
less distractions. Paper plane happened just after that.
Okay.
I left my first company because the speed at which I wanted to go was not happening with my partners.
Yeah.
I needed a new team and I started from scratch making that team, which was fruitful because the art of elimination, no? I eliminated them.
Of course.
And then I eliminated many others who came on the way, and the ones who stayed are the ones who are running Paperplane now. Paperplane happened there. The vision of that company had already started in 2016. But unfortunately, that's the same time I got cancer. So the first company didn't work out, so I registered another one, which was Paperplane.